Hey everyone, it's Triple Mango Threat, and today I'm going over my thoughts on Vadrik Astral Archmage. Let's jump right into it. So Vadrik costs 1 blue red. It's a 1/2 human wizard that cares about instants and sorceries. Our instants and sorceries cost X less, where X is Vadrik's power. It also cares about it being day or night, but the cards I'll be mentioning won't affect that. So how can we increase Vadrik's power without involving cards that don't affect day or night? Well, equipment can be a great way to help us with this. Black Blade Reforged is a super silly card. We can pay 2 mana to cast it and 3 to equip it to Vadrik because it's a legendary creature. And it gets +1/+1 for each land you control, so this could be a +5/+5, and making our instants and sorceries cost 6 less. Nice. Bone Splitter is a really cheap mana cost and equip cost, but it still gets us 2 extra power or 2 extra mana we don't have to pay. Imperial Plate, for 2 to cast and 2 to equip, we get a +1/+1 for each card in our hand. In an instant and sorcery deck, it's likely that we're going to have a ton of cards, and I'll explain how we do that later. Hero's Blade, 2 to cast and normally 4 to equip, but we can attach it to our commander for free if we already have Vadrik on the battlefield when we cast this, and it gives +3/+2. Cloud of Dominus, not an equipment, but it does give our commander Shroud and Haste, and +2/+2 for being blue and red. Shroud will be very helpful when our opponents want to get rid of it, and Haste can be helpful as well, but it's likely we're not going to be attacking with our commander. Some of the instants and sorceries we have are Brass's Bounty, which for 7 mana can seem a bit much, but we get a treasure token for each land we control. This could be a great way to ramp for our next turn, and with the reduced mana cost from our commander, this can end up being a 4 mana spell that gets us 7 treasures. Commune with Lava. It has X in its mana cost, so our commander's ability already starts paying for X. We can exile the top X cards from our library. Until the end of our next turn, we can play those cards. This can be seen as card draw in a sense. We get that many more options to play, and it's until the end of our next turn. If our opponents make us discard, we still have those exiled cards, and we can also play our land for turn from the exiled cards. Dig Through Time. Another expensive mana cost, but it has Delve, which lets us exile cards from our graveyard to pay for the colorless mana. We look at the top 7 of our library and put 2 into our hand. The rest go on the bottom of our library in any order. With our commander out, we're at least getting 1 colorless mana discount. We'll have more instants and sorceries, but these are great options for whenever we do cast them. Murmuring Mystic. This is a great way to start getting our 1/1 flying birds that can help us block or eventually overwhelm our opponents. Talran gets us a 2/2 flyer, and Young Pyromancer gets us 1/1 elementals. Don't underestimate these creatures. We're getting these in addition to casting our instants and sorceries, so we can ramp from Brass's Bounty for 4 mana, assuming we get a mana reduction from Vadrik, getting us 7 treasures and a 1/1 flyer. This is very good for how much mana we're going to end up paying. Speaking of treasures, we have Stormkiln Artist. Whenever we cast or copy an instant or sorcery, we're going to create a treasure token, so if we cast Opt for 1 blue mana, we can get that mana right back with Stormkiln. Whenever we cast instants and sorceries, we can deal a huge amount of damage with Electrostatic Field. We deal 1 damage to each opponent, Gutter Snipe deals 2 to each opponent, and Thermal Alchemist deals 1 to each opponent when we tap it. Whenever we cast instant or sorcery, we get to untap it, so it's similar to these others, but it just requires us to tap it to deal the damage. Drawing cards is a ton of fun in the deck, so we have Archmage Emeritus. Whenever we cast or copy an instant or sorcery, we're going to draw a card. I love this because with the mana cost reduction from Vadrik, we're drawing a ton of cards for cheap. Drawing cards with X in the mana cost is also really sweet in the deck. We have Blue Sun Zenith. We can pay X and 3 blue to have target player draw X cards, and it gets shuffled back into our deck, so there's a possibility we can end up casting it later in the game. We can end up paying 3 blue and draw cards without even paying for the X, when we have Goblin Electromancer, Vadrik, and even Curious Homunculus flipped. Pull from Tomorrow is another great X spell. We draw X cards and then discard a card. Only 1 card. This is a silly spell and super good. Stroke of Genius. We can have target player draw X cards. Thought Vessel. This is going to let us ramp, and it's going to give us a no max hand size, so this is super helpful with all the cards we're going to be drawing. Hypersonic Dragon. It makes our sorceries now have flash, and I love this for the deck, or really any instant and sorcery deck. Making our sorceries have flash is a great way to interact with our opponents more, or makes plays that shouldn't work, well, work. Thank you all so much for watching. If you'd like to purchase any of these cards that I mentioned, I'm going to have a link down below. You can get your cards and support this channel at no additional cost to you. Thank you to the patrons who help support this channel directly. You can also become a $10 patron to see your name at the end of these videos and get an exclusive Ultra Sleeve each month. Be sure to comment down below and subscribe for more Mango content. I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.